This is Ask Todd on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. If you have an existing estate plan or are in the market for one, Todd Lutsky is here to answer your questions and help you plan for later life. Ask Todd is presented by Cushing & Dolan, serving Massachusetts and New England for more than 35 years, helping families with estate and tax planning, Medicaid planning, and probate law. Visit CushingDolan.com. Now, here's Todd Lutsky.
And we are now joined by Mr. Todd Lutsky for Ask Todd. Phone lines are open. Last week, I believe we may have set a new record with... Did we get to 5 calls last week,
I think we might have. I think we did.
4.
Four?
Home run then.
It felt like 5. I think it just felt like we were rocketing through them. But we do have limited room on the phone line, so call 888-205-2263 to be able to ask Todd your estate planning questions. That number again is 888-205-2263. Normally we can only get to 2 or 3 of you, so again, get calling early, get calling often to get in line to ask Todd your questions. That number, one more time, is 888-205-2263. Mr. Lutsky, how are you today?
I am never better, and you?
I'm good. I just quit my side hustle as a mannequin in a department store.
Yeah, that was a side hustle?
I held that position for a while.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I did.
You got rid of it.
I did. Todd, I want to talk to you a little bit about retirement accounts and long-term care costs.
Okay.
When it comes to folks that have retirement accounts, be it a 401k, IRA, SEP IRA, even you get to, tax-free accounts, Roth IRAs and things like that.
Yeah.
How does someone go about trying to protect those assets from the cost of long-term care, given the unique tax implications of them?
And you really hit it on the head there, Chuck. It is all about the unique tax implications of these. So when you're dealing with estate planning, taxes are important. When you're dealing with estate planning, income taxes are important, which you come into with these kind of plans. So you can't move them to an irrevocable trust in advance of going into a nursing home so that we can protect them. So protecting these assets in advance is difficult. Now, I'd say difficult, nearly impossible, but there's a little thing we can do, which I'll explain in a minute. The reason I cannot put them into that irrevocable trust is because then they would have to come out of the entity that they're in, which is this qualified plan, like call it an IRA or even a Roth, right? If it comes out of the regular IRA, it's going to be taxable. You could lose 40% if you pull a lot of money out and have to put it into the irrevocable trust. Now, you might say, well, Todd, a Roth can pull it out and there's no income tax, and that's absolutely right. But if you pull it out and there's no income tax, but I put it into the trust, when I invest it again in the name of the trust, it will not be in a Roth. So now it will grow income taxable, depending on what you buy. So again, it's a trade-off. No, I can protect it by putting it into the trust, but it will grow income taxable, not like a Roth. And I'll leave you with this last thought, because the one way you have I'll say a 50% chance of protecting it in advance is dying and not going into the nursing home, which we all want to do. That's not our goal. And if we're married and we do planning, we set up these things called testamentary trusts, so that if you happen to die and never make it to a nursing home, but you're over age 73, I know a lot of rules, then the beneficiary can be this testamentary trust, which is built into your will, so that now the asset will be sheltered from future estate taxes in that will, in that testamentary trust, and available for your spouse, which you want, but immediately protected from the nursing home in case your spouse got sick later. Man, remember, if you don't do that and you just leave it directly to your spouse, it's going to be available for estate tax when your spouse dies and continue to remain at risk for the nursing home when your spouse gets sick. So it's a wonderful way of providing some protection or a chance at protecting an asset that's very hard to protect.
Talking with Todd Lutsky from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan. Still room on the phone lines at 888-205-2263. That is the number to call to speak with Todd live on air about your estate planning questions right now. Again, 888 888-205-2263 is the number. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we are going to get to your questions with Todd. That phone number again is 888-205-2263. One more time, it's 888-205-2263.
Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky every Wednesday at 10:30, only here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Don't miss Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky every Wednesday at 10:30, only here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Talking with Todd Lutsky from Cushing & Dolan. We do still have a little room on the phone lines, so call 888-205-2263 to ask Todd your questions. Again, that number is 888-205-2263. Tucker, I know that we have someone on the line. I didn't see anything come through. Do you have the name?
I'm sorry. That would be Rick in Chatham.
There we go. We got Rick in Chatham all queued up. Rick, what's your question for Todd?
Okay. First, he was discussing the difficulties of moving like a IRA into irrevocable.
Yeah.
What if you move your E-Trade account in there? It's not in a retirement account. How does that work? Like, can you still get your dividends out, like if you wanted to use it for retirement type deal?
Yeah, great. Go ahead.
Yeah. Then the other thing would be, you talked about that trust at 73.
Yeah.
If you die with an irrevocable trust, aren't you already covered that way? In other words, would my spouse already be protected?
All right, so two questions. One, and both, by the way, just for everybody else listening, both of these questions revolve around advanced Medicaid nursing home planning and estate planning and are dealing with an irrevocable Medicaid trust. These are the kinds we've talked about many times on the show. So, excuse me, how do we fund the irrevocable trust? As was pointed out by Rick and me a minute ago, we cannot put the IRA directly into that trust because of the big income tax hit. However, I've got my Fidelity accounts of the world, I've got my Schwab accounts of the world, I've got, E-Trade, whatever it is you're using to invest your portfolio, as long as it's a non-qualified portfolio, so a regular investment account like this one. Can you retitle it? Absolutely. Simple paperwork. You go to your brokerage house and you get change of name forms. They have them. Download them. And you'll put, new name on the account will be, and like if it's my trust, it might be the Todd Lutsky Family Irrevocable Trust, okay? That would be the name. And then it'll have a place for the trustee name. Put it. And then there'll be a place for an ID number for the trust. Generally, if you're working with us anyway, we will have already obtained that ID number for you from the IRS, and that will be listed there. So put those three items on that form, turn it in, and the brokerage house will retitle the account. Now, it's very important when I say retitle. Notice I didn't say resell the account, because there will be no selling, no capital gains tax, no taxable event whatsoever for retitling. It's just an in-kind transfer. So easy for that, and yes, I'd recommend it. Then once it's in there, his question is, well, what can I do with it? Well, sure, that language in our trusts say all the income, interest, dividends, just like Rick indicated, that is being generated by the items in the trust, by that investment portfolio, belong directly to Rick. Or me if it's my trust, or you if it's your trust. So it will say, you could just tell your broker or your financial advisor to simply set up the account so that it automatically distributes that income directly to your personal bank account. And I know you didn't ask this question, but at the end of the year, yes, you will continue to pick up that income on your individual income tax return, so you're not going to have an adverse income tax liability. The trust will file a Form 1041, but it will pay no tax. It's a grantor trust if it's drafted right, so make sure you find the lawyer that understands how to draft these. Then you just continue to pick up all the income on your tax return, even if you don't take it. So wonderful there. And lastly, this IRA thing, yeah, it's relatively new. It's dealing with the Secure Act that came out, I guess, effectively the second version in 2022. And if you have reached the RBD, required beginning date, of 73, then you name the estate, not the IR, not your irrevocable trust, Rick, that I just described to you. Not that trust. A separate trust built into your will. And so you have to name the estate of, like if it's mine, it would be the estate of Todd Lutsky, not my wife, as the designated beneficiary. And so what that will do is, yes, that one item is going to have to go to probate, but I don't care because the benefits far exceed the probate issue. So now it will sit in trust for the benefit of my wife. She can use it. It's sheltered for future estate taxes, and it's immediately protected from the nursing home for the family in the event my wife gets sick, even if it's the next day. Doesn't matter. No 5-year waiting period. So hope that was helpful. Great question on that. And folks, that's how you do advanced planning. However, lots of times people are faced with nursing home admission and have to deal with what we call last-minute Medicaid eligibility planning. In that regard, I've put together a guide called just that, Last-Minute Medicaid Eligibility, and it describes to you, for married people and single people treated differently, how you have certain assets when you're applying for Medicaid that are countable and certain assets that are not countable, like a primary residence or a rental property. They're treated differently. What about a 401k or an IRA? What about jointly held investment accounts versus investment accounts held singly in your own name? So there you go. Lots of differences. And it even has a few ideas about how to transfer assets to avoid the 5-year waiting period last minute. My point is, there's something in here for everybody, whether you've planned or you've not planned. If you're faced with going into the nursing home last minute, don't write the check. Get the guide. Learn what you can do last minute. 866-848-5699 or legalexchangeshow.com. Again, 866-848-5699 or legalexchangeshow.com.
Todd, you referenced there talking about, last minute planning and things like that, but let's go, kind of forward back in time.
Okay.
Which is the best way to phrase it.
Okay.
Let's say that you are not facing an urgent Medicaid situation. I often see people trying to figure out, hey, what's the best tool for me to deal with a potential long-term care situation? Is it trust planning or is it long-term care insurance? Is it really a binary decision, or can the two complement each other in certain situations as well?
I'm going to go with they can complement each other in certain situations, but let me explore it a little. So the one thing you want to stay away from is the idea that probably all I need is long-term care insurance. Again, assuming you're not self-insured. If you have enough assets, let's start there. If you have enough assets, folks, generating enough income, you're self-insured. You don't even need to go down the Medicaid eligibility road. But if you're in that area where you might, probably the long-term care insurance, it works. It can be costly, but if you get it, it's a wonderful thing to have if you get it early enough, and it might provide some help. But I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. Whereas on the flip side of it, if you did nursing home planning and you didn't have long-term care insurance, or maybe you couldn't get it, too old, too expensive, whatever, I think you can actually use the irrevocable trust to completely protect assets, whereas I think it's a little tougher just with long-term care insurance. So I think probably a complementary is good for both, but yes, putting the assets in the trust can get you there all alone.
And if someone is looking to avoid a last-minute type of planning scenario, what's kind of the sweet spot for starting to do planning that reflects the possibility of a long-term care situation?
A couple of things. I would say age, 60, 65 and up. If you're starting to do your planning, you might want to think about whether I'm going to go down the irrevocable trust road or I'm going to go down the revocable trust road. That's a great age. Secondly, I would say, asset level. You got to start thinking about the asset level. Not just the asset level, but what kind of assets. Do I have a lot of liquid money or do I have a lot of real estate? Somewhere in that $4 million and below range I know it sounds high, but I would say somewhere in that range you might want to also consider it. You start getting up there in the 5, 6, 7 million, you can pretty much be self-insured most of the time.
Todd Lutsky, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
This has been Ask Todd on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Ask Todd with Todd Lutsky has been presented by Cushing & Dolan, serving Massachusetts and New England for more than 30 years, helping families with estate and tax planning, Medicaid planning, and probate law. Call 800-393-4001 or visit CushingDolan.com. The views expressed in this segment are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Armstrong Advisory does not provide any legal or tax advice. Please consult with your legal or tax advisor on such matters. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.